How's it going, everyone in the audience? Thank you all for joining today. Can you guys give me like a quick thumbs up or say hi in the chat just so I know that it's working? And
Welcome, welcome,
awesome.
welcome.
Welcome. And please let us know where you're joining us from, what your company is, what you're doing, what you're looking to get out of today. We'd love this to be as interactive as possible. So today's topic is really going to be about how GI Junk has maximized their reviews to grow their business and improve employee engagement. We are co-hosting this webinar with one of our awesome partners, NiceJob. And again, thank you all for joining today and looking forward to a fun event. Just a quick run over on the agenda. So we're going to begin the conversation with some brief introductions about each speaker, the companies, what they do, and then we're going to dive in a little bit about how GI Junk has improved their business and engaged their employees with reviews. Then we're going to dive into a discussion about how GI Junk has grown their business with reviews. And then lastly, we're going to do an open Q&A in the last 5 to 10 minutes, and you guys can ask any questions you want. I know there were several questions that actually came in before the event began. And so we'll answer some of those, and then feel free in the chat to type in questions and we'll try our best to answer them either on the chat or we'll bring them up for discussion. So quick introduction to your speakers today. I'm Wes Friednash. I'm one of the strategic partnership managers here at Workies. I'm going to pass it off to Curtis to introduce himself, and then I want Jennifer to introduce herself and give a brief background on GI Junk, a little bit about yourself, like what you're doing with GI Junk. And yeah, so I'll pass it over to Curtis first and then to Jennifer.
Thanks, Wes. Hello, everyone. My name is Curtis Davey. I'm the partnerships manager here at NiceJob. I am based in Vancouver, British Columbia. So if you're ever in the Pacific Northwest, give us a shout. We wanted to put this webinar together because, Jennifer has been a customer of ours for about a year now. And about halfway through the year last year, we were looking for some amazing companies that were doing great things with our service and taking NiceJob and really leveraging it to the utmost to create amazing systems and operations within their business to really, engage employees, maximize impact, and grow their business. And when I came across Jennifer's company, she was doing such great stuff, not only with NiceJob, but in her own business. We had to reach out, get a case study going. So if you're looking for that, it's on both Workies blog and NiceJob blog. And I'll pass it over to Jennifer to tell us all about GI Junk removal.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jennifer Calhoun. I'm the co-owner of GI Junk Removal, which is based in Portland, Oregon. I own the business with my husband, Matthew, who I noticed is in the chat here, hopefully not to troll me too bad. We opened this business back in 2018 after Matt had retired from 20 years service in the military. And it really started as a mission to employ veterans in a supportive employment environment where they were surrounded with other veterans and where we were using similar terminology and structures as what they would have experienced in the military. We found that it led to a really cohesive work environment that we've been really proud of. And we've seen veterans really improve their lives through the course of their employment with us. We started in the garage of our house with one used truck back at that time. And we have grown without any kind of external funding to now our monthly target revenue is $100,000 a month. As many people on this call, I'm sure know, it's a bigger challenge right now in January to hit that than most other months. But yeah, we've grown to 4 trucks, 15 to 18 employees, kind of depending on the day. We have a 6,500 square foot warehouse. And we also, through the course of our business, launched a nonprofit at the end of 2021, where we are salvaging and redeploying used household items to members of our community where they're needed.
That's awesome. That's so
awesome.
Great.
I love the mission and the story of what you guys have done. I know here at Workies, we have a bunch of junk removal customers that are veteran focused. So we love working with you guys. The next thing we're going to cover briefly before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of why we're here today is kind of the partnership in general, how NiceJob, how Workies works together, and relate it back to these reviews. So at a high level, Workies is one of the field service management solutions in the industry. I know a lot of you guys probably use Workies. So essentially, pros use their Workies to run their entire business, make them more efficient through automation, all the way from collecting a new lead to booking the job to getting paid. And so then that's where NiceJob comes in, because we have an awesome integration with them through Zapier that once the job ends and your payment's collected, a review will be requested through NiceJob. So I'm going to pass it off to Curtis. He can talk a little bit about NiceJob, and then we'll really dive into the reviews and how that has impacted Jennifer's business.
Yeah, so really quickly, as Wes alluded to, we look to capture or we look to trigger a review request around the moment of peak excitement in a customer journey, whatever that might be for your business. And that could be, after initial consultation, but typically that's, after the job is done when the client is looking at your great work. So we capture that event from Workies, whether it's, booking closed or job completed or invoice sent. It definitely differs from CRM to CRM. But then that automatically triggers the review request. With our series of smart follow-ups, we'll 4x your review velocity, meaning we'll help you get 4 times as many reviews as you would asking manually or through another solution, even another competitor of ours. We also offer websites with a conversion rate guarantee, where we'll guarantee to beat your last website's conversion rate by at least 10%, or it's free until it does. So if you're looking for a new website, come give us a look. We're very affordable, and we drive results that we stand by. And then within the reviews product itself, we have a ton of great features like social proof, like topic insights, and like employee leaderboard, which will showcase in this session how Jennifer's leveraged those. But it just adds a ton of value to help you not only grow your business through customer-driven growth and the idea that every customer you serve can help you refer to one more, but also help you learn from all the reviews and all the feedback you're getting from your customers to implement systems like Jennifer has to really engage employees, reward employees, and run a really awesome company culture.
Amazing. I'm going to move on to, I think both of us clicked it at the same time. I'm going to pass it over to you, Curtis, and I just published a poll in the chat that I hope people can fill out. It's just a question about reviews. Just give it a look when you get a chance. I hope it's working correctly. So on to you, Curtis.
Yep, working great. We'd love to know, how you're currently collecting reviews so we can speak to that. But specifically, we're going to dive into how Jennifer has leveraged her reviews to engage her employees, to reward her employees, and to really create an amazing system. I'll tell you a little bit of background. When I first found Jennifer's company, she had generated 142 reviews in just 2 weeks using NiceJob. And that was initially after signing up in the month of December, if I'm not mistaken, which is typically not a month where you're doing a lot of business, or certainly where your customers are probably pretty busy or distracted. So to drive that many reviews in such a short amount of time, and then I think it's been another 400 to 500 in the year since, it just speaks to the amazing system, the amazing way that Jennifer continues to operate her business and leverage that in her day-to-day. So Jennifer, let's speak to specifically your operations with your employees. I can touch on the who's and the how's and the what's, but I'd love to hear from you in terms of how you've built an amazing system to engage, retain, and reward your employees on a regular basis.
Sure. So I do want to provide one disclaimer on the huge number of reviews that we got right after signing up, because I think this is important for people to understand, is that when you sign up with NiceJob, if you have past customers that you haven't yet requested reviews from, during that onboarding process, you can upload those and request reviews right away. So we did have a small backlog. We had been using a different system previously, and we had a few months where we weren't requesting reviews. So right when we signed up, we were able to push all of those customers through and request reviews. So it was a little bit more than just the work we had during that month. But sometimes people don't realize that you can go back and request the reviews after the fact. Now, you're not going to see the same kind of conversion numbers as far as how many people are replying when you do it after the fact, but it's still worth doing. It doesn't cost you any extra money or anything like that. You just upload them all into the system. So if you do sign up with NiceJob, I definitely recommend following that process. In terms of our structure, my husband and I own the business. I use the title CEO. I'm typically working the business side of things. And And Matt is the COO. He's running the operations. He oversees an operations manager. And then all of our crews are generally unskilled labor, typical to what you'd see in a junk removal setting. One thing that really drives the culture in our business is our core values. One of which, specific to this topic, is excellent customer service. And another one is compassionate approach. So those are two of our core values that really link into the customer service expectation. And for some of you, you may be familiar with the saying, you can't expect what you don't inspect. So we find that it's hard to expect people to provide excellent customer service, really to go above and beyond, if there's no way for you to provide accountability and check in on if that's happening. And hearing back from your customers directly is really the best way to do that. As for compensating employees for these reviews, or really for any other performance-related metrics, I highly recommend people to check out, there's a book, don't worry, it's a small one, it's very manageable, but it's called Scaling Up Compensation. And Scaling Up Compensation goes through, at a very high level, the concepts behind compensation and psychology, and how people are not logical. They are very emotional. And there are a lot of little tips and tricks about how our brain work that are very helpful when designing compensation. A phrase they use is a raise is only a raise for 30 days. And then it's just your pay rate, right? So raises can motivate people, but they're not especially effective motivators, actually. So they talk about base compensation, individual incentives, team incentives, and profit sharing as the 4 elements of an effective compensation package. And they give some really great examples about how you can design individual incentives that are going to be get you the best results possible with your employees. So we follow a lot of the advice in that book. We are still developing, and it's an iterative process where you learn as you go and you refine that process. One great example is that the same sort of response you have in your brain, that kind of thrill around gambling, can be applied in compensation. So sometimes having a reward that isn't guaranteed actually provides higher levels of motivation for people than a smaller guaranteed reward. They gave an example of the Home Shopping Network, where if people purchased, for example, a necklace, they were supposed to offer an upsell. This is the phone representatives. And they found that people weren't offering the incentive or offering the upsell, even though there was a little incentive for them every time they did it. They just wouldn't offer it. So they had a compensation analyst come in and work with them. And instead of continuing with that model, they changed it to a model where every time you did that, you offered the upsell, you were entered into, or you were given a chance to spin a prize wheel. And so then they took the same budget that they were using on the guaranteed payouts and gamified it and turned it into an uncertain reward, and saw something like a 12x improvement on those upsell offers. So it's really amazing the kind of results you can have by changing the structure without necessarily increasing your budget. So definitely check out that book and use those principles to guide how you are compensating people for things like reviews. So it drives our compensation as I'm talking about now. Another way that we're using it is as a motivational tool. We use Slack, and we have an all hands channel. I'm sorry, I'm fighting off a little bit of a cold. When we receive a great review, we'll also share that to the entire company in our all hands channel and give everyone an opportunity to celebrate the great service that person received. We also use our reviews as user-generated content. And that's one that I think people sleep on a little bit. You have other people, customers, who are saying in their own words what problem you solved for them, what pain you relieved, what the benefit was. And like, how much time and money do we spend trying to think of the wording that's going to resonate with our customers? Like, who better to tell us that than our customers, right? So we, at one point, actually downloaded all of our reviews, all of our Google reviews, and we tagged keywords so that we could group our reviews based on the type of service or the type of compliment that we received in that review, so that when we are ready to create content, if we're talking about integrity, then we want to find reviews that are complimenting our integrity and feature those. Or if we're doing a campaign that's specific to real estate agents, we want to find a review that's relevant to that, because providing people with the most relevant content that they can envision themselves in that same situation is just marketing gold. Sorry, Curtis, I've just kind of run on a train here of different stuff. I'm not sure if I'm on the right track.
Yeah. That was an amazing train, because you dropped so many gold nuggets along the way there. So I want to recap that a little bit. So using reviews for compensation, you used to use a model where you would reward each employee with, I guess, $5, let's say, for each 5-star review they would generate that week. And in the last slide, I'll go back there quickly. We have a great tool in NiceJob where you can track which employees are attributed to what jobs in your CRM, so that all you have to do is, if you assign Joe Smith, or in this case, Thomas Moore, to your job this week, that'll carry through all the way through to that review. So you can actually see that Thomas Moore did 20 jobs this week. Out of those 20 jobs, or let's say this month, out of those 20 jobs, he got 13 reviews. That's amazing. High five to Thomas in the team meeting each week. And then, here's $5 per review for your extra bonus compensation at the end of the week. Is that fair to say, Jennifer?
Yeah, we were doing it more of a not every single review, but when people were getting really outstanding reviews, then we would actually read out the text of the review as well.
That's awesome. So yeah, in the weekly meeting, I'm an employee, I'm sitting down, I'm getting that pat on the back, that little dopamine rush every time my review comes up. And not only am I looking great in the eyes of the leaders and in the eyes of the owners of the company, but all of my other teammates get to high five me, give me a pat on the back. And I know that's a few extra bucks in my pocket at the end of the week. So I thought that was an amazing system you implemented with that. You've now, obviously, after having read that book, Scaling Up Compensation, and big shout out to your husband, Matt, for moderating and not trolling you. He actually helped by sharing the name of that book in the chat. So well done, Matt.
Thanks.
You're now shifting to this model of sort of the spinning wheel, where every review you then get sort of a spin of the wheel, or maybe a ballot, or an entry into this week's drawing, where then at the end of the week, you're compensating your employees with some fun activity that gamifies the experience.
Yes. Yeah, we're still developing this. I think we're going to do it in terms of a drawing, and we're going to actually hold the drawing at our crew meeting so that it's public and kind of in front of everybody, and they know, the more great reviews that they're generating, the more chances that they have to win. And then it also allows us to fund more significant rewards, because we're not giving out as many. And then people get excited, like maybe this week you get $100 bill or something. And that's not something we could afford to give out for reviews if we were doing it for everyone in every review, but we can do it in a drawing setting, and we'll see how the numbers come out. But in theory, it should be actually more motivational.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see the numbers and the stats on that, because I'm sure either way, employees are feeling good. They're feeling engaged, and that's a great way to retain them, because as we all know, keeping staff on board these days is one of the hardest things, and finding new staff to bring to the table is also equally hard. So if you have, a group of guys that have been there a long time, and you have a good core group of employees that are then helping to refer and bring in their friends, because it's such a great place to work, that all contributes to a great company culture, B, better results overall, and a better, bit less stress for the owners in terms of finding new employees, and then C, an amazing place where, they're helping to create that culture. They're helping to bring new people into the team, because you've created such a great job of engaging them, rewarding them, and keeping them, accountable to the results, as you said.
Yeah, it's actually part of our onboarding process that I do recommend to new employees that they look at our customer reviews, because that's the best way for them to understand what we're looking for. Like, this is the experience that we're trying to create. So when we have a customer review that says something like, I was really stressed out by this situation, I was overwhelmed, and then these guys got here and it felt like having my brothers over helping me. They were so compassionate, so helpful. When we get feedback like that, we highlight it to the crew, like, this is exactly what we're going for. And these reviews are almost like looking in a mirror, right? It's reflecting that experience back to you from the customer, and you're seeing, like, are we living up to what we're trying to create or not?
Yeah, and so the second gold nugget you touched on was those insights, and I've switched to this slide because this speaks a lot to like how you track that feedback. You had that line of, if you don't, you can't expect what you don't inspect. So NiceJob is great in that we really help you to highlight these things internally, both understanding which of your employees are doing great work, but then which of your reviews are speaking to what topics. And of course, we use machine learning, sentiment analysis, keyword analysis to try and really dig down into what each review says. But of course, if you're reading them thoroughly, I'm sure you'll have a great understanding of what it is, both on the positive side, but also on the negative side. So you're rewarding and you're high-fiving and you're acknowledging your employees for doing great work, but then you get a 1-star review, and it also gives you a great amount of knowledge for you to understand, are you doing what you set out to do? Where your core values are followed, and where your system's followed in each job, to understand if it's doing what it should, and where your team members are doing what they should. I know you're sorry, go
ahead. That's something I would highlight about the process of how we're automating. In Workies, as soon as our job status switches over to done, that Zap is going to fire, and it's going to request the review from NiceJob. And the result of that is that we hear that feedback very quickly. When the reviews are left, they go directly to our dispatchers. And so, while it hasn't happened often, the couple of times that we have received a bad review, have frequently been immediately after the service. The person is angry about something that has occurred, and we hear about it so quickly that we're often able to do follow-up and try some service recovery with that customer before things get too far out of hand.
Yeah, that's amazing, because then you get your dispatcher, your office manager can call the customer immediately after, 5-10 minutes after they left a review, potentially address whatever the issue was, have your team go back and fix it that day if it's an issue that's that resolvable that quickly. If not, then it's an amazing learning opportunity for you to take back into the team meeting that week, discuss it, figure out what the perspective of the drivers or the techs were, resolve it, and then the entire group can learn from it.
Yeah.
So certainly, having that understanding is amazing. Using those reviews, as you said, is sort of that next element. So we'll transition into that section now. But before we jump into there, I just want to recap a quick, benefits of engaged employees. And Jennifer, I'd love to hear if you'd say all of these are true, but, engaged and happy employees are less likely to leave the job. You're going to save a lot of time and money training those new employees. Reliability increases, operational excellence increases, because knowing that they're going to be held accountable to reviews and the feedback of their customers, your employees are going to show up, they're going to perform, and knowing that they got those rewards at the end of the week, they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that customer experience was excellent, so that when that review request goes out and when that review comes back in, that it's going to reflect them and their work positively. Better service, of course, they'll be motivated to perform their best, and then pathways for promotion, where you're able to identify your top performers on the truck, in the job, even in the office, and help other employees and new employees emulate them. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Jennifer?
Yeah, right in line with this, but when you're looking to identify trainers or who can be a good example, if you see somebody really standing out on their customer reviews, that might be someone that you target on. Okay, what are you doing? What is this person doing that's driving such positive feedback? And how can we systematize that and take that kind of, special sauce, whatever it is this customer is doing that our customers are responding, or whatever this employee is doing that our customers are responding so positively to? How do we make that just part of our system and replicate it with new hires as they come in?
Awesome. Is there an employee you'd like to shout out who's been especially good at that recently?
Oh, you know what? That's part of that, the CEO versus COO divide. That's all in Matt's swim lane. So he's the one who's really, seeing who's doing a great job. I think Thomas was up near the top of our leaderboard. He's been a great employee. yeah, we definitely keep an eye out for those as they're coming in.
Right on. Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but shout out to Thomas and shout out to the whole GI Junk crew for doing an amazing job so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, Wesley just posted a new poll. We're also just looking to get some information about how many reviews you typically get in a week. I think there was a question earlier about, how many jobs you do in a week, Jennifer, and what percentage of those you get a review from. I can probably answer that. I don't know about the number of jobs, but certainly I see a typical conversion rate around 20 to 30%. I'd say that's really good. On the high end conversion rates, you're going to see 40 to 50%, and there's a lot you can do to really maximize that. I won't, get into detail on that today, but certainly reach out to NiceJob if you'd love some great best practices about how to really, hit 40, 50, even 70% like some of our customers do with some simple systems and things you can implement in your operations.
Mm-hmm.
But Jennifer, you touched on something in the last section about UGC and about how reviews being shared to your website and shared on social media has made it very simple for you to market yourself using your voice of your customers and using themes and topics that you also find resonate or that you've sort of identified as things that you want to use in the marketplace to set yourself apart. So that would be an example where you take a review that talks about your quality of service or your clear communication, and you take that and you can easily turn that into a social post or an ad on Facebook and stuff like that. So social proof being an example of where you take one of our widgets, post it on your website so that anytime somebody comes to your website and sees this, it's going to validate that customer purchase decision. It's going to, give them the proof to understand that you're professional, you're accountable, and that, Joe Smith booked a job 5 days ago, and then Joe Smith left you a review 5 minutes ago, and that gives them all the information to know that you're, on time, you do great work, and they should reach out to you. Mm-hmm. What else can you add in terms of, how you've leveraged your reviews to convert traffic or convert leads to sales, or even, do you hear from a lot of customers about how your reviews was some of the reason they signed up with you and set you apart from your competition?
Yeah, I mean, we have right around 1,000 5-star reviews online, and without a doubt, people tell us all the time that that was what set us apart and what made them call us over the many other companies available in our area.
That's awesome. And then, I mean, we've in our data, NiceJob, we see customers using these widgets as shown to increase your website conversion rate by 10-15%. And it might not sound like a lot, but if you look, typical websites in home services industries convert around 1 to 2% of your traffic, which means if you get 1,000 visitors to your website on a monthly basis, you're converting 10 to 20 of those into a lead and then hopefully into a sale. With 10 to 15%, that could mean an extra 5 customers, but certainly with our convert websites or all of the tools you can use with your SEO partner or your website developer, or whomever it is that helps you with your website, I would highly recommend that each of you in the audience looks at your website conversion rate as a KPI to measure both, past as well as going into 2023. Because if you can take that website conversion rate to 1 to 2% to 5% to 10%, how many more customers does that represent to your business, and how much more in terms of leads does that mean to close? So Jennifer, when you get a lead coming through your website, what's your typical process to follow up with that customer and the timing and the cadence of that?
Yeah, so when leads come in through our website, those are sent into Workies automatically, and we have on-site dispatchers now, and they're going to follow up with that customer immediately. Usually they start with a call. If they can get the customer on the phone, they go through the process like that. If they can't, then they send an email and a text, and we kind of divide them up by whether there's enough information in the lead that was submitted to us. If there's enough information there to go ahead and estimate the job, we'll go ahead and create an estimate and send it to them to approve or deny. If there's not, then we have some language written up letting them know what additional information we need in order to be able to provide an estimate.
So it sounds like it's pretty seamless then. I'm a customer, I land on your website, I call or I text, I get an estimate from you right away, and that's through Workies, and that comes, I assume, pretty quickly or automatically. And then from there, I have the option to confirm that and book my job within 15 minutes of, taking action on your website. That's what we see is like an amazing customer experience and creating an amazing customer experience throughout the customer journey and not just when the job is being done. So then once you have that review, so you've gotten the customer onto your website, you converted them to a lead, you converted them to a sale, all of that's in 15 minutes. Next thing you know, GI Junk is at your door. They've done the job happily with great customer service and with an amazing, compassionate approach. You've completed the job in Workies, you've triggered that review request to the customer, and you've got this amazing 5-star review. You talked about leveraging those in your content. Can you tell us a bit about sort of your approach to taking those reviews and turning them into marketing gold, or ensuring that your customers are seeing those?
Yeah, I would say that full transparency. This is probably the part of the process that we haven't refined as much. Within NiceJob, there is the opportunity to have those automatically posted. We have not implemented that yet. We just wanted to have a little bit more control over what was posting. And we have a couple of other things in the back end that are also automatically posted, but it's on my list to kind of streamline that side of the process. For so far, it's been much less of a system and just us being like, oh, this review is great. Let's throw that out on social media.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'm showing in the screenshot that you're seeing here is an example of what this looks like within NiceJob. You can take an amazing 5-star review. You can add a photo to it. You can make a little background for it, and you can easily grab a snippet of that review to share. But then further to that, in the section up above, below the John Doe there, you can provide a response to that. So if I'm ever a customer and I allow on your Facebook page, your Instagram page, I can see an amazing 5-star review from a customer. I can see potentially a photo from that job or from about your business, and then I can see your response to that, which could include a referral link, a website link, a way to turn that social post not just into a pretty thing to put on your Facebook page, but in something that's actually going to drive you more leads and sales through a channel that probably isn't doing a lot for you, but could if you're leveraging social media on a regular basis to grow your business. So some of the ways we call this amplifying the voice of your customer. Some of the ways you can easily do this, of course, is to capture a review from a customer or a referral from a customer at a moment of peak excitement, as I said, which is typically when the job is being done. You want to make it easy for your customers to share that review online, and through NiceJob system, they can text a friend, they can email a friend, or they can make a social post with the 5-star review that they've just shared, so that not only are you sharing that great review, but you're actually getting your customers to share it. And that's creating what we call that customer-driven growth flywheel, where every customer is empowered through easy solutions to then have them reach another friend or family member, somebody in the network that can potentially use your services. You can surprise and delight, similar to what Jennifer's done with her employees. You can do with your customers, where you can choose to send them a gift after receiving a 5-star review or a referral, or after every 6th job booked. You can really start to create those elements of rewarding your customers for doing work with you. And then, of course, you want to publish it to your social media and website, because as Jennifer related to, it is UGC, which all of the search engines love to see, and it's what some of that SEO juice that really goes into high performing and high ranking websites is. User generated content is considered anything that your viewers, your audience members, your website visitors are able to post and add. And so once you're doing that, every single review that is being posted to your website automatically is helping to boost your SEO, is helping to reach more people and help you rank up on Google and other pages. So we'll recap quickly why reviews are important. Certainly for Jennifer and her team, it's been engaging employees, it's been improving operations, it's been having customers reach out and book their services over their competitors because they have so many great reviews and such other ones. I won't touch on each of the stats here individually, but as you can see, a majority of customers are always referencing reviews when choosing to do business. The one that I think really stands out here is how customers are more likely to spend 31% more on a business with excellent reviews. Jennifer, would you say you've ever had any customers come to you and say, you're not the cheapest, but I'm going with you because I think you're going to be the best?
Oh yeah, all the time. And one that I'll highlight on there, Curtis, is the last one, that people read how a business responds to reviews. That one's really important, both for SEO and the kind of playing the Google game, and also for customer perception. Because they want to know how you're going to reply when something didn't go well.
That's so true. I mean, we could probably spend an entire webinar on how to respond to positive and negative reviews. But quickly, definitely respond to every single one of them. Try to propose a solution. To Jennifer's point, if she's getting that feedback really quickly, she can even have her admin, her office manager, her office manager get somebody back out to that job quickly to turn the job around, so that that customer would even change that review into a 1-star to a 5-star. Also, of course, you want to provide a solution. You want to say that your customer service team is going to reach out. But one thing I would say never to do is get involved in a tit-for-tat response with a troll or an unhappy customer, because you just want to have one simple response, leave it at that, put the ball in their court to reach out, or keep the ball in your court to have your team reach out. But we won't go too much further into negative reviews, just Jennifer's amazing nugget of information that I am one of those people that looks at 1-star reviews and if you respond to it. And ultimately, a good data point for you is your reputation is not going to suffer. Having a 4.5 is not a big deal. It's not until you hit about a 3.3 rating that customers really start to get concerned, because nobody trusts a 5-star rating because it's too perfect, especially once you get into the hundreds of reviews. But people do trust a 4.1, a 4.3, a 3.9, because they'll go and they'll look at that review and they'll see what was the circumstance. Everybody understands there's internet trolls, so there's always that element. But if your business is taking the time to respond to it compassionately, as Jennifer does with her core values, you're going to see other customers reach out and say, "That's amazing how you've done that.
Just really keep in mind that you're not just speaking to that person who left the review. You're speaking to the whole internet. So keep your response aligned there with what you want everyone on the internet to be able to see in the future.
You got it. So I won't spend too much time here. This is just a quick recap of everything we've learned here. Boosting social engine rank, more referrals equals less marketing spend and advertising spend, and having social proof, aka those reviews on your website, is going to boost your conversion rate, equaling more leads and more sales. So
I'll just say, there's one line on that last slide that I'll highlight also around, more referrals, less marketing and advertising spend. Google My Business, those are free listings, and we get 10 to 15% of our business from our Google My Business profile. And a huge part of optimizing your Google My Business profile is getting and replying to reviews. So that's, that's a great way. I definitely encourage people to optimize their Google My Business listing to keep those free leads essentially coming your way.
That's a great note. One other great data point for everybody here is that to register on the Google local 3-pack listing, so if I were to search junk removal in Portland and I find Jennifer's account there, it's likely because 25% of what Google looks for in who to select for that Google local 3-pack listing is based on your reviews. How recent are they? How relevant are they? Have you responded to them? And what the rating is. So if you're really looking to rank up and get yourself on more organic searches for cleaning service in X city or junk removal in Portland, that's an amazing way to do so. And I gotta say, Matthew has got to be the nicest troll I've ever seen, because he's not chirping you, he's telling you how awesome you are. So Wes, I know we got a bunch of questions in the queue. Do you want to start picking through?
Yeah, so what we should do here is there's some questions specific to NiceJob that came in, and there were some questions beforehand that came in. So what if you can answer maybe the ones in the chat about NiceJob? I have some questions that I would like to ask from the registrations, but right now is the perfect time to ask questions as well. So any new questions you want to know? The first question I have that I am going to add registration is probably for Jennifer, but should all reviews be posted on Google, or should they be posted on the lead source site? And maybe Curtis, you have some context here as well, but Jennifer, do you mind?
My answer would be that depends. I wish I could give a solid answer. I'll say in our case, we funnel them all to Google. And the reason for that is because we're seeing the best benefit on Google My Business. We actually discontinued use of Home Advisor and Thumbtack because when we ran the numbers on the return on those investments, the returns just weren't there. But I would say that's not advice to ditch those lead sources in your business, because depending on the industry, the city, who else is on there, they are performing better for other people. So it's really about knowing your own data and which sources are the most valuable for you. And then I would recommend driving your reviews there. And there's just so much benefit to having the Google reviews that I would probably only advise driving them to another site if you really need to show a presence there. Like maybe you're new on Thumbtack, or you're new, I don't know, you're new on some other source and you want to get a little base of reviews there. Maybe you could do that. But my opinion is that Google's the most valuable place for them.
Definitely agree. Google is still king, whether we like it or not. Our perspective is always, once you have a review, it's better to get a review than no review at all, because then once you have that review, whether it's in NiceJob or on Yelp or on Better Business Bureau, you can learn from it, you can understand which of your employees drove it, and then you can still share that out to your website, to your social media, to turn that into an asset you can use. So if it's a choice between only forcing a customer to Google or no review at all, our position is, get that review on any site, no matter which one it is, and then make sure, because that way you can leverage it, share that into the places where it's going to have the most benefit for you.
All right, another question we got that is honestly maybe a follow-up to that question. This one's for Jennifer. How do I get my phone to ring without spending money on leads or ads? Or are leads, just spending money on ads, just kind of something you have to do?
Well, so when it comes to spending money on ads, I like to say, if I can spend $1 and turn it into $5, how many dollars am I going to spend? The answer is infinity. I would spend infinity dollars if every dollar I spend gets turned into $5. Now, in reality, we know it doesn't work that way, because as you increase, you're going to reach that point of diminishing returns. So it really comes down to the return on investment. When it comes to getting the phone to ring without spending money, it is difficult. Referrals are great. Repeat business is great. And Google My Business are and social media, organic social media are some of the best sources for that. As far as getting into, if you're not already paying for ads and you're ready to start dipping your toes in, I definitely recommend going to Google local service ads and checking to see if because it's only for certain industries and in certain cities. So you have to put in your industry in your city to check if you qualify to sign up with them. But if you do, I definitely recommend that as a nice low point of entry to get into spending ads. The reason for that being that it's not terribly complicated to manage yourself. Once you get into pay-per-click, it is complicated. I recommend that people hire a professional to manage Google pay-per-click. So by the time you're paying a professional to manage it and you're spending enough money to make any kind of difference, pay-per-click can get really expensive. And if it's not being managed well, you can waste a lot of money on ad spend that isn't getting you results. Whereas Google local service ads, it takes a little bit of lead time because you need to submit things like your proof of insurance and the stuff that Google wants in order to show you as Google verified, I think is the term that they use. But once that's done, your reviews actually show up, or I'm sorry, the Google local service ads actually show up at the very top of search results even before pay-per-click ads. So it gets you really great placement, and all you're having to do in your profile there is set up your the services that you provide, your geographical area, and then do you want only messages or messages and phone calls, and what's your budget? And that's it. There's no setting keywords or setting bid strategies and all of that kind of stuff. So that's a great low cost ad source to try out if you're needing to generate some more interest.
Amazing. We're pretty much at time, so I think it's time to probably move on to the last slide, which is a special thank you to both Curtis and Jennifer for joining today. Thank you for all of the attendees for answering and asking some great questions, participating in the chat. We have your contact info. So I did make a note on some people that they had specific questions that would be good to do a follow-up on, so we can reach out afterwards and answer any of those specific questions. But again, thank you all for joining today. Since you're here, we're giving up on the Worky side. We're giving away 2 months free when you sign up from this webinar. So thank you for registering. I know a lot of you guys use Workies already, but NiceJob is already doing something, is also doing something for the registrations today. And I'll pass that on to Curtis to kind of talk about it.
Yep. So obviously, if you're a Workies customer, it's super simple to enable that integration. But for anybody and everybody who's interested in trying NiceJob today, we offer a 14-day free trial. You're guaranteed to see some results in those 14 days, as Jennifer did. You're able to follow up with past customers that you've served in the last 30, 60, 90 days. Totally up to you in terms of how far back you go. But even with that, Jennifer generated 142 reviews in 2 weeks in that free trial. I'm pretty sure that's part of the reason she decided to continue on using us. So after that 14-day free trial, we'll offer $75 off the first month of NiceJob. So that'll make it $20 or $18 for the next month. And I have no doubt that in this 45 days that you try using us, you'll see some incredible results. We'll drive you a few extra new leads, and that'll pay for itself month over month. And then, of course, we work 2 months of free Workies. If you don't yet have a CRM or an FSM, highly recommend you check them out. They have amazing call tracking. They have amazing sort of lead conversion, understanding where your leads are coming from. And then with that automation with NiceJob, it just creates that entire flywheel spin. And so it takes a lot of your time, or puts a lot of time back in your pocket for you to spend on growing your business, spending time with your family, which I know we all think is very, very important.
Awesome. Jennifer, any final words? And I know you're feeling a little bit under the weather, so thanks for still doing this today.
Yeah, no problem. I don't think any final words. I talked plenty so far.
Well, thank you all for showing up. Jennifer, thank you for coming under the weather. You're a true soldier and soldiering on through this. I'll try to get to any last questions that I see in the chat. But for all of you as well, thank you for spending some time with us. Thank you for learning with us. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Workies or NiceJob or even Jennifer. As Matthew highlighted, Jennifer is a small business coach with Conquer. So if you're looking for some guidance, if you're looking to level up your business this year, highly recommend you check her out, you send her a message, and get some more information about all the great work she does as a coach and with Conquer.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. I'm going to close the event, but again, thank you everyone for joining. I'll see you guys later.